Okay, let me start going through some of these. Really, what we're doing here is learning some notation. In other words, what we're doing is learning what this means. F plus g of x. And that's just another way of writing f of x plus g of x. We're just learning notation. And of course, f of x is 3x plus 1. G of x is 2x plus 5. So really, we're just learning what this means. And if we add these together, we get 5x plus 6. Yeah. So it's very simple. We're just getting used to this new notation. Now, you have to be careful sometimes with this one, f minus g. So this is f of x minus g of x. And it's just like always, when you're working with negative numbers, you have to be careful. Because what can happen is you can make an arithmetic error, or some kind of a sign error. So this is going to be 3x plus 1 minus. Now, here's where you could make a mistake if you forget that this whole thing is in a parentheses. So you've got to negate the whole thing. So this would be 3x plus 1 minus 2x minus 5. Ah, there it goes. And then you just put everything together. This would be x, what is it, x minus 4? Yeah, I guess so. X minus 4. Okay. Okay, any questions about that? Now this one down here, this is f of x times g of x. So this one has a little bit more work involved. We've got 3x plus 1 and 2x plus 5 times 2x plus 5. Now remember, you're just going to distribute. Distribute the 3x through and then distribute the 1 through. Okay, so you might know that as FOIL, right? So we've got 6x squared plus 15x plus 2x, and then finally plus 5. Okay. And that's going to be 6x squared plus 17x plus 5. There you go. Okay. So these are pretty straightforward. This one right here, f of x over g of x. So f of x is 3x plus 1. G of x is 2x plus 5. And there we have it. Really, we don't want to do any more with that. There's nothing, we don't want to try to, make it messier than that. This one is just pretty simple. F of x over g of x. Now, if this bottom divided into the top, there might be some obvious division we would want to do, but this is as far as we need to go with it. Okay? Now, what we might do, though, is state the domain. Whenever we have a denominator, a variable in the denominator, maybe we'll want to state the domain. Something like that. Are there any questions up to this point for those ones? Okay. Now, let's look at the composite functions. This just means f of g of x just means this. It means take this function f, which is 3x plus 1, and in place of the x, put whatever g of x is. Well, g of x is 2x plus 5. So we just put a 2x plus 5 in there. And that would be a 6x plus 15 plus 1, or 6x plus 16. That's all there is to it. Okay. That's a composite function. So f is a function of g of x. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay, so take a minute and try this one right here. G of f of x. Remember, you've got this outside function, the g, right, which is 2x plus 5. So whatever's on the outside, I rewrite that function. G's on the outside, so I'm going to rewrite it. 2 blank plus 5. And just leave a blank where the x is. And for the x, I'm going to put in the 3x plus 1. And then it's just, multiplying. There, and we got it. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. This just literally means f of 4 plus g of 4. So we just need to figure out what f of 4 is and what g of 4 is. Well, f of 4 is 4 squared plus minus 1. That's going to be 16 minus 1, which is 15. And g of 4 is going to be 4 minus 1. So if we talk about f of 4 plus g of 4, we are just saying 15 plus 3. That's all we do. And then down here, we've got f of 4 minus g of 4. So that's going to be 15 minus 3, which would be 12. So it's very easy. It's just learning the new notation, actually. Okay. Now we've got f times g of 4. So that's going to be 15 times 3. Which I guess would be 45. Because we know this is 15 and this is 3. And then with this one we've got f of 4 over g of 4, which is 15 over 3, which is 5. Okay. Are there any questions about those ones? Now, here's the composite function. So we've got f of g of 4. Well, g of 4 is 3. So this would be f of 3. And then we plug that back in. Remember, f was x squared minus 1. So this would be 9 minus 1, which would be 8. Okay, now think about what this one would be, g of f of 4. Remember, g was x minus 1. So this is going to be g of, what was f of 4? Well, f of 4 was 15. So this would be 15 minus 1 is 14. Okay. Is everybody okay with that? Any questions? Okay, now let's suppose that we're not given f and g in terms of some algebraic expression. Let's suppose we're just given the graphs. So now we can't plug in numbers into an expression to get out a value. We have to look at the graph. In other words, if we want to know what f of 2 is, we have to look up here on the graph. If we want to know what g of 2 is, we have to look up here on the graph. So with that hint in mind, work through these. See how you do working through these problems, A through G. And then I'll jump on here and help you out in just a second. On this first one, we've got f of 2 plus g of 2. So I come over here and I find out f of 2 is 0 plus, let's see what g of 2 is. Well, g of 2 is 2. And I just come over here to 2 and I go up to 2. So g of 2 is 2. So this one is just 2. Okay. So f plus g of 2 is just 2. Now if we do f minus g of 3, So let's see, this is going to be f of 3 minus g of 3. So I got to get the numbers from the graph. F of 3, let's see here, f of 3 is 2. See? And g of 3 looks like 1. Okay, so there's f of 3 minus g of 3. Now, this one is f of 1 times g of 1. Okay, so let's see what f of 1 is. Well, f of 1 is 2. See, 2. And g of 1 looks like 3. So it would be 6. Okay, and then f of 1 over g of 1. Okay, so f of 1, remember, I guess that's 2, and then, yeah, 3. We just did that one, so 2/3. Okay, any questions about that? Now, so those are pretty straightforward. We're just getting them off the graph. Now, let's look at these composite ones. This says f of g of 0. So we've got f of something. Well, that something is g of 0, so I've got to find out what is g of 0. So I go up here to the g function, g of 0, and I get 4. See? So I'll put a 4 in here. So this is f of 4. Now I need to figure out what f of 4 is, so I come up here and find 4 on this f function, and I notice it's 4. So the answer to that one is 4. Whoops, didn't have it where you could see it. So g of 0 is 4, so this is just another way of saying, well, what is f of 4? Except they didn't say f of 4, they said f of g of 0. So we had to do some investigating to find out what g of 0 was. Now, on this one, look at this. We're going to have g of something. That something is f of 0. So I come up here to f of 0, and we already determined that was 4. So we got 4 right there. And then I find g of 4. G of 4 is 0. Okay? And this last one's the same way. We have f of something, and that something is g of 3. So I got to figure out what g of 3 is. So it looks like g of 3 is 1. See? 1. So I've got f of 1. And then f of 1 is 2.